Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for your next week. In a pick a card reading, you get to pick the number, the card, object. I'll be placing objects here any moment on the group here and pick what resonates with you. Then I have timestamps down below in the description and you can go straight to your reading and I will be there reading those cards for you. All of my pick a card readings are timeless, so I have a playlist of them. If you're not happy with these selections or at any time when you feel like you need a reading for your next week, go and find one that resonates for you. I also got, I'm taking this time to show you this super cool plant. This is a Greenovia. So I'm super excited to have it here with us for this reading. And now here we go with the objects. For group number one, I have Sardonyx. It is, I hope you can see all the swirly pattern on here. I think it has onyx in it, and that's why it has that name. For group number two, this is Apatite. It is this is a palm stone. It's a very calming stone, so it's nice to have in your hand and calm down with. And then for group number three, this is the lightest of the stones because it is amber. Amber is super light. It's surprisingly light. And it's really just because it's sap from an ancient tree that's been petrified. So it always has some very interesting things within it. So we have an amber heart. So if you're still not sure which pile is for you, we can do an exercise together. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to think about being right here in the moment, think about hearing the messages that I'm meant to hear, and go ahead and take a deep breath in and release. Release out any tension or anxiety. Be present in this moment. Go ahead and take a deep breath in and release. Now open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. And thank you so much for being here. I will see you in your group. Hello group one. If you picked the Sardonyx, you are in the right spot. So let's take a look at the first card that comes out for you. And we have number 8, Alchemy. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemists to perform the miracles of transmutation. And miracles of transmutation, alchemy, usually is associated with changing like a metal into gold. So as far as like career, finance, manifestation wise, this next week should be pretty fruitful for you, as long as you remember that you have it within your power and within your grasp, that you're able to be the creator, not only of your own reality and the world, well, yes, of your own reality and the world around you, that you are the one with the power to control your life. Where we get lost here, a lot of modern day society, you know, we have these conveniences, and it makes us sometimes feel helpless. Like there are states where you can't even pump your own gas, you know, and it's like, what would my ancestors do? You know, they were very self-sufficient. Now we do things that are completely unimaginable to them that would be considered alchemy. Communicating to you in this way is complete magic and alchemy. However, there are secrets that they have as well in the things that they have done. So I think the important message here for you is remembering that if you want to do it, you can do it. It's almost DIY. It's almost like a DIY, do-it-yourself message. That if you look at something and you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so much to have somebody come in and do this for me, you can do it for yourself. And it's also kind of a thing about looking at other people and realizing that they're not any more special than you are. Sure, everybody has their own certain level of, skill level and things like that, but everybody started from one point, and you don't have to pay all these people because they know something that you don't know. Sometimes they do, but it's not like it's outside of your grasp. If you are searching for something, you can seek it. It's not like you have to rely on other people. It's the power is within yourself. So I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna bring out this because I'm doing my clear deck today, which I love, but they show up better on white. So this is the transparent tarot card. So what else do we have for group one? Group one for next week to go along with this alchemy. What else do we need to tell them? That is the 9 of Wands. Okay, we're gonna layer some cards here. Ooh, this one flipped over. That is Justice. Okay. These are fun to shuffle. They just, sometimes they come out right away, What else? A lot of Wands energy. This was kind of with it. Okay, ooh, 7s. All right. So very, very interesting. The first thing I'm seeing here is, well, you have 2 7s. So that is important. And Justice is a major arcana card. It comes in over the 9 of Wands. But more than just the 9 of Wands, it's really interesting that we've got like the blue and the red here and the blue and the red kind of repeated over here with the 7s. And this is almost, these people are kind of walking different ways. Justice talks about balance, the balance between different things, good and evil. The scales can talk about scales have been used for justice for a very, very long time, like since ancient Egypt. So, and it's also interesting that it's balancing here on a sword. We have swords. So on either side, we've got wands and swords. It's kind of like balancing your passions and your thoughts. Not a lot of feelings going into this, however, like if things are out of balance, it could be like very out of whack with your feelings. So balance, 7 is they say balancing your actions, because 7 is a card of action. And it is an action that is, it's almost underneath the surface of what you feel like is out of your control, which is great that we have the alchemy, because sometimes we're in a situation where we're like, oh my gosh, it feels like a roller coaster. It feels like it's out of control, for lack of a better word. But usually, there's this technique in negotiation where you're presented with 2 options, and then there's like a time limit that's kind of like put on it to make you feel like you have to make a decision now, and here are your 2 options, and you can only do these 2 things, black or white. And usually when you get into that situation where you're feeling that pressure, and it's like an external kind of pressure, they're telling you these things, the best course of action is almost to walk away. And that's kind of what the 7 of Swords is doing. He's walking away. Well, the Wands guy over here is fighting. So are you going to walk away, or are you going to fight? And those seems like both almost like the walk away doesn't get you what you want, because you're not getting what you want at all. Fighting, it doesn't get you what you want, because you're fighting over it. there is a third option. And even though I said the best course of action is to walk away, when you walk away, it's just to calm down out of the situation and, collect your thoughts and look for that other solution to get what you want. You don't have to go through that particular person. You don't have to go through, I'm really getting a sense of like a car dealership. Like, you want this car, you get there, you get put on the spot, you understand, it's usually a pressure situation, and they're putting you in a pressure situation because the thing is, you're the one who has the power. They are trying to get you to do something that they want you to do, but they're making you feel helpless. You may not be buying the car, it might be another situation, but you understand what I'm saying there. And what alchemy is saying is like, hey, it's time to pull back your power. Justice is saying it's time to pull back your power too. The other interesting thing with justice is the idea that something very small can tip the scales. Nine of Wands is an interesting card too, because it is also kind of a standoff. Kind of like the Seven of Wands over here, where you're fighting, you have all of this energy coming towards you and you're battling it and you're fighting it off. But are you really, winning? Or is it really something that needs to be a battle? Is it something that you need to be fighting for? Nine of Wands is kind of like your last stand. Kind of like you're done with this battle. It's getting the situation in control. It's you being in control of the situation. Even though, and it might even be like you present this kind of like controlled front, but underneath you've got these battles happening in your head. And it's saying like, yeah, we get it. Like, we know your thoughts are crazy. We know your passions are crazy. We know you want to get you going on this. But stop looking around at other people and what they can do for you, or what they've been doing for you, or what they have kind of convinced you that you don't have the power, and you're giving your power to them, and then the situation is just getting even more chaotic because they're not doing what they're doing for your best interest. They're doing it for their own best interest. So alchemy is almost like, okay, I'm going to sit down in this situation and think it out. I felt like I only have these two options. What are my options? Because the sevens here, it's time to take back control of your options. It's time to take back control of your own thoughts. Our thoughts are manipulated every day. They're manipulated by people we love. They don't realize that we're doing it, but we're the ones that are giving them the power to do it. They're manipulated by the information that we consume. They're manipulated by the people around us in our community. And then sometimes we feel like there's this battle going on that's really not. And the thing is when we are like, this is almost like a distraction. Like you're over here battling all these things, battling your thoughts. And in the meantime, what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for your magic? You're giving your magic to other people is what I'm seeing here, group one. That you need to step up. And it's just little things. It's tiny things that can help you bring that back. The 9 indicates that this is almost done, that you have been through so many successful battles. And it's kind of a reflection on the conflict that's happened. It's also kind of, this really reminds me of, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And it's almost like your strength, you don't have to be full strength with everyone. You don't have to beat everybody up. You can just let them be, and it's okay. So I know this, I hope that makes sense to you. I feel like those are some pretty specific instances, But it's getting control of your own mind. It's getting control of your own passions, because right now things are just split. And acting in a way that works for you. What is it that you need? A lot of times we don't even ask ourselves what we need. We're so concerned or consumed with what's happening with other people that we've not asked ourselves what we need for ourselves. And alchemy brings that back to you. Transmutation is really important here. Transmutation is like taking something and creating it into something else, taking anger and making it, using that as a way to make yourself better, taking sadness and making that into something that's creative, changing that into a creative energy. Anger is, where you're building something new out of it. You don't sit in that position. You kind of like take it and you deflect it and make it into something better. When you sit in like anger or sadness or hopelessness, it's taking hopelessness and creating hope out of it. Taking those lemons and making lemonade. A lot of times we are given things that are not, I'm shuffling here too, by the way, giving things that are not optimal. But that doesn't mean that you cannot like create and make something out of them. If you go to Home Depot and look around, it doesn't look like much. It's not an interesting store. The stuff in there looks like blah, but it has all of the components in there to build like $1 million house. To build your dream home it has all the components to do that. You just have to look at them in a different way and then put some work into it to assemble it. Let's see here. Interesting. Crow spirit, co-create with spirit. This is so created with alchemy. This is so like taking, it's so indicative of pulling things out of thin air, creating your own reality, creating your own home. Oh, and hummingbird spirit, be here now. Love it. And it's very interesting too that we get these two, because the crow, birds are messengers first of all, and they're very much connected to to swords. And we have the sword's energy. Even here we have the sword that is holding up the justice scale. So be open to information that's coming in. If it is something that upsets you, why does it upset you? But it's meant to, like, communications right at the moment are meant to inspire you, or meant to move you into a new way. It's the raw materials that you have that are helping you to create. And then we have the hummingbird spirit, which is very beautiful. Be here now. This is, and just like the colors in between them, we've got the very, cerebral part of it, the very like creative part of it, almost like the left brain and the right brain coming together. And we have them. The other interesting thing is now the crow spirit and the hummingbird spirit, they're moving together in the same direction. So I feel like next week, group 1 is a great week for you to get your mind together, to get things together, to start taking your contradictory thoughts and really examining those, so that contradiction they tell you something. Like, how do you reconcile those things? So next week is about reconciliation. It's about looking at the little things, and the little things really, really matter. On the scale of justice, like just one feather can change that balance. And it's you, with this creative energy of the wands that we have going on here, figuring out how to put those pieces together so they make sense to you. So very interesting, group 1. That's what I have for you. Again, the most important part for this is, understanding that conflict isn't supposed to tear you down. It's supposed to help you and inspire you to create new things. It's also like if you're tired of this conflict, it's about ready to come to an end. Why? Because you're standing up in your power, because you're understanding this alchemy, that you are a co-creator of your reality. And what I mean by that is you are the sum components of everything else around you, but you are the one who's in control about what you consume and what you bring in. And then the be here, be now. It's not about, because this is interesting too, when we've got the swords here and the wands here that are like kind of pulling you in different directions. It's almost like, what do they say? Anxiety is about being worried about the future, and depression is like, you know, spending too much time in the past. The hummingbird spirit is like, no, this is the beautiful thing that I have in front of me. This is what I'm focusing on. I am right here. I'm with the people who are around me. I'm listening to what they're saying. I'm not concerned about next week and making rent next month and if I can buy a house in a year. I'm in this moment and I'm enjoying this moment, because most of the things that we are concerned about, they don't even happen. So I almost feel like this is a lot of with the alchemy and the hummingbird, trusting your future self with future problems and not being concerned about that. And like the crow spirit is like, you know, yeah, the past happened, you can't change it, so why dwell on it? It's made you who you are. You are actually a very strong and productive. Productive may not be the right word, but it's what's coming up here. You're a strong and productive person. Don't stand in your own way. Let it flow. Let it come through to you. We all have a past. Forgive yourself for that. Forgive other people for that. We are all just human. Like other people, if they hurt you, I'm not sure that they understood that they did. They're just trying to do what they think is best for them. And you, the only thing that you owe them is to do what you think is best for you. So that's what I have for you, group one. Really interesting reading, because I feel like you're really, really powerful, and I shouldn't have to convince you of that. You know this, but it's being in the moment, being in right now, and just like, yeah, you know, you can compliment yourself. That's okay. You can be happy with yourself. You can love yourself. You can be who you are, because that's what will make everything around you better, is you loving yourself. So I love you, and I love you, group one. I love you. I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, group two. If you picked the Apatite Palm Stone, you are in the right place. Let's see what we have for you. So the first card that comes out is number 18, Cosmic Flower. The frequency of the cosmic flower activates our remembrance of the place we call home, the core from which we pour our magnificence out into the world. And I almost feel like this comes out when we just are not feeling ourselves, when we feel kind of like out of place and kind of maybe left out a little bit. I also feel like this comes out when we are pulled in so many different directions. That can happen so easy. There's all of these things that people think we need to do, or that we think we need to do, and we've been programmed for like achievement, and we need to go to the gym, and we need to go to work, and we need to put in overtime, and we need to make sure that we cook every meal, and we need to make sure that we go to every farmer's market, and all of these things. And this kind of reminds us to kind of pull that stuff back. What is really important to you? Maybe it does feel good to be a part of the community and go to the farmer's market and unwind. But of those things that I mentioned, and maybe it does feel good to go to the gym, but of those things that I mentioned, what gives you peace? What, you know, or what do you have in your mind that gives you peace? What is it that's something you've been missing? Is it, dancing? Is it taking a bubble bath? Is it, sitting in your car and just listening to some music? Is it a song that you haven't heard for a while? This is kind of like disconnect but reconnect, and reconnect with yourself. I also feel like this has a lot of spiritual meaning to it as well. We feel disconnected from spirit, from God, from source, from our higher selves. And this talks about like, how is it that we get connected? For some people, it's through prayer or meditation. For others, it's, again, community events. You might need to go to church if you're feeling it. You might want to connect with what is it that makes you connected to spirit? What is it that makes you feel connected? For others, it's going to be, spending some time in nature, going and getting lost, putting your phone down. That is something that seems like it's important for you for next week, group 2. I'm going to put these out because we're using one of my favorite decks, and who am I kidding? They're all my favorite. This is the transparent tarot deck, but I love the way that it overlaps and overlays. Perfect. I'm going to get 2 for over there, 2 for over here, and see what messages we have. So this is why I have yes, so that is the King of Swords. Some more swords energy. What else do we have? These are just super fun to shuffle. I don't know, okay. For some reason, I'm just really giddy and happy. And I see the reason. We've got the 9 of Cups. And this is the 10 of Swords. Or 10 of Wands. Okay, so we've got Swords, Wands, Cups. I just am really feeling happy here because I feel like you connecting with yourself is going to be a really good thing for you. Over here we've got the 9 of Swords. That's this little person over here who is just being bombarded with things going on in their head, intrusive thoughts. And then we've got the King of Swords. This is you stepping into your energy and just really, I don't want to say ignoring everything else that's going around you, but really just picking and choosing what thought it is and being in control of your thoughts. And I know that's really, really difficult to do, especially when you're being bombarded with other things. I feel like the Cosmic Flower is talking about being bombarded with other things too. And the King is saying, listen, you are... Okay, again, I'm getting the messages I'm getting are really, really joyful and really happy. This is good for you, group 2. So there's some audio on Instagram, and it's today we are bad bitches, not sad bitches. If you want to be a sad bitch for the day, go and take you a little nappy nap. That's how that's how it goes, and that is what's popping into my head. And it's listen, you can rest, and that's okay, and we all need rest. It's kind of what this 10 of Wands is saying over here, but it's the 10 of Wands, the 9 of Swords. Both of those energies is this is you not feeling yourself. This is you taking on too much. This is you giving too much. This is you allowing, not putting up your proper boundaries. You need to set some boundaries next week because you have not been allowed to shine in the way that you normally shine, group 2. You are a bad bitch. And you are somebody who creates. You are somebody who is in control. You are somebody who steps up within your power, within your energy. And then the King of Swords, very powerful. That creative, that controlling energy. It is controlling energy, but it's you controlling it. It's you controlling it for yourself and not allowing other people to control it. It's you controlling your thoughts. When you get a negative thought in your head, instead of just letting it affect you, you ask it a question. You aren't even my thought. You just tell it that. Go away. I'm not listening to that. That's not in my reality. That's not in my timeline. We are controlling, is this something that Source would want for you? Is this something that God would want for you? Is this something that your higher self, your spiritual self would want for you? If it's not, let it go. You don't have to carry it around. It's not a competition of being the most pious person. It's not a competition of taking on all of this external crap. And a lot of sometimes we feel like we're being a good person by taking burdens off of other people, and doing that is great. But sometimes, a lot of times, they just are more than happy to give you their burdens and never take them back and never learn from them, right? So if it's not yours, put that boundary around there and don't take it. Perhaps this could be like sometimes we open up to friends or family and we allow them to complain or to be angry or upset, and we just allow that. And if a lot of times we take that internally, and if that conversation isn't balanced, if it's like they don't allow you to vent to them because it's not a reciprocal conversation, then why are you taking it? You don't need to take it anymore. It's one thing when you're in a position of strength, that you're in control of your thoughts and you're not letting it affect you, but it's another thing when it really does. So I feel like that's a specific message for some people, that it's okay to disconnect. Again, we're coming back to ourselves. We're coming back to our source. The green here is about our heart chakra, our heart center. What is it that makes you happy? Is it really having the same conversation with your friend who gets into super toxic relationships and this complains about how bad the world is all the time, and never learns anything from it? And your intent is you want to help your friend through this, and it never happens. And really, you're just like, wait a second, I actually think my friend just wants drama. That's very, very possible. Let it go. Don't worry about it. Let them worry about their own thing. And there's sometimes we have, and I'm not saying that they are toxic or, they may not understand what they are doing. If they really do want to change, but all it's doing is dragging you down, sometimes you just have to unplug for a while. You can't take it anymore, unplug. That is more than fine. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have the 9 of Swords here and this 10 of Wands, and it's just taking in way, way, way too much burden. If you're watching this video when I upload it, even though these are timeless messages, take a look at the phase of the moon that we're in. I will bet you that you're watching it when the moon is waning. It's the perfect time to think about things that you need to let go, the perfect time to think about things that no longer serve you. Certain ideas, certain thoughts can no longer serve you. And sometimes we don't even realize how that is affecting you. And a lot of times we have learned these thoughts as a child. An example, my husband feels like a 2-story house is more secure and that everybody should have a bedroom on the 2nd story. And he learned that from childhood because he grew up in this terrible neighborhood in Chicago that the 1st floor would get shot up every once in a while. Right? And our circumstances are completely different right now. But when you have these thoughts, you're like, wait a second, why do I think this? And sometimes you need to bounce those ideas off of other people. And I know that I was talking about when people are bombarding you with those ideas, you don't have to take those and internalize them. And maybe you need to talk to somebody about the things that are going on in your head. But it's also going back to your boundaries kinds of things. Getting in the right frame of mind when you speak to somebody that you know they have like a lot of things going on, that you're not taking that on emotionally yourself. You can be there for people and not take on their emotions, or not take on their thing. Most of the time they don't want you to either. It's just something that kind of happens, and I kind of feel like that might be where our burdens here are. That we're just, but the great thing is 10 of Wands, 9 of Swords, like that is coming to an end, because you are reconnecting with yourself. You're reconnecting with your power, getting in control of those thoughts, and then getting in control of our emotions. The 9 of Cups, I haven't really talked about that much, but when I was shuffling and like really, really happy, so I feel like this is actually a very, very happy week for you, Group 2. It's just, it's supposed to be emotionally fulfilling for you. It is supposed to be for you to really go after these 9 cups, this joy and this delight, and to really be in that frame of mind. Okay, let's see what else we have. Oh, Lion Spirit, yeah. Be generous of spirit. I love the green in there so much. Reminds me of our heart center. This, Lion in Tarot is the Strength card. And it is all about being in control of your mind, taming that beast that happens in your mind. We also have, very nice, the Giraffe Spirit, see the big picture, and the Squirrel Spirit, believe in yourself. So Menagerie, I was only going to pull 2, but 3 came out for you. A menagerie of animal spirits here for you. I love the Squirrel Spirit in this, because you're like, yeah, Lion Spirit, that's, yeah, strength. And Giraffe Spirit, beautiful, very unique animal, seeing things from a different perspective, kind of like higher perspective, kind of being this, the King of Swords here, observing your thoughts rather than thinking your thoughts are in control of you, and you turning that, flipping that, being in control of your thoughts. Big picture kind of thing with the cosmic flower as well. And then we've got this little squirrel, right? And the squirrel is believe in yourself. Those squirrels, they are so fun to watch. And they do their work with joy, and is really about finding that joy. And they do this, they're packing all their stuff away slowly but surely for the winter. And they're very playful, and they're doing it with joy. And have you ever seen a standoff with a squirrel with a Rottweiler or something like that? They're just like, you know what, your anger, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about boundaries, when people are trying to unload their emotional baggage on you. The squirrel's not having it. The squirrel is in their own reality, in their own universe, and they will provoke those dogs or those Rottweilers. They know when to get out of the situation if it gets a little too tough. But they'll come back and really just be like, tease those dogs a little bit, because they are so much into that joy, the kind of like that joy of life, that playfulness is really what I'm seeing from them. So even though you have this strength, you have this kind of like definitely King of Swords energy, this control, you're getting this control over your thoughts, you're reconnecting with spirit. It's about like, have fun and play and be in that joy as well. And that's part of this 9 of Cups here. That's part of this love and fulfillment that you love for yourself and you love for other people. That's what I have for you, Group 2. I hope that you have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next reading. Hello, Group 3, and welcome to your reading for this week. This is the Amber Heart. So, compassion. I'm not surprised that we have compassion here. If you pick the heart, we also have a lot of green in this. Heart center, heart chakra, and then we've got underlying blue that would connect with emotions and kind of intuition. So this says the frequency of compassion supports our ability to stand by others without judgment and be the divine mediator between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, so that unconditional love can flow from source through our hearts and into the world. So I love this. There's nothing more powerful in the world than love. It also really reminds me of, I love the part about without judgment, because we don't know what other people have been through. We don't know their mental and emotional capacities, and it's just the best advice for somebody that you disagree with, the best advice for somebody that you're having a difficult time with, is to just love and show them love. It kind of reminds me of this morning. I was listening actually to a hospice nurse talk about how she said, if you're the type of person who, doesn't want to connect with somebody when they're on their deathbed, she's like, that's okay. It's okay. She doesn't know what you've been through, like with the person dying. And she said, and I really feel like the hospice nurse is somebody who would totally embody this compassion, because she understands that there are, probably years of things that have gone wrong. And, when we look at the end, like she is, a lot of times, we're very sorry about what has happened. And I almost feel like her love that she has to be able to take care of somebody that she knows has conflict with somebody else, and not taking a side and being kind of like on everybody's side in that situation, is real love. And if probably the person who's passing away had half of the compassion that she has, they wouldn't be in that situation. So I feel like being like that hospice nurse in all situations, but also recognizing that it's something that's really impactful, I guess, is what I want to say. Just showing people love. And somebody who doesn't want to visit their dying relative, they can love from afar, or not. But again, that is their own thing. You don't have to be wrapped up into that. And this kind of goes back to love for yourself as well. If you feel a certain way about something, you don't have to, you're not obligated to fix it. You can just let it go. If it is impacting you, forgiveness, whatever you need to do, show love so that it doesn't impact you any longer. Wow. Strength. Yeah. And I said, wow, strength, because this is you having strength. This is you finding that strength within yourself to just, a lot of times, reconcile with yourself. And look at that. 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords is, wow. 10 of Swords is the card where you have all those swords being stuck in your back. That is so interesting when I was going with compassion and telling that story about the hospice nurse, because I'm really, and then these cards coming out, because I'm really feeling like a situation like that. That it's okay. Some of the people who've gone through the worst things have the greatest capacity for love. And then we have the King of Pentacles, more about control. This is controlling yourself, but very physical type of way. And look at that. Wow. Okay. I just had to take a breath here for a second, because this 20, this Phoenix is judgment. The card Judgment. And we're talking about being without judgment. Picking yourself up here, strength. Feeling like we've been stabbed in the back emotionally. Feeling like we may have, we've let somebody else's opinion be too important to us. And the compassion is just not only, I mentioned about showing love for others, but I really feel like this is showing love for yourself. Because strength, even though, you know, a lot of times it's depicted as a lion with a woman here, the strong individual in this is not the lion, it's the woman. And in this particular card, you know, she's holding up the head of this cat, because she is the one who, it's like a quiet, calm, and she's showing strength through love. And it's doesn't need to be external. It can be very, very internal. It is understanding that you've been wounded. You need to show yourself love. It is okay. You deserve love. And the first person that can love you is yourself. That's fine. Because then I really feel like the Judgment and the King of Pentacles over here, like, they are not so concerned about what other people are doing. You know, the Swords is a 9 of Swords. The Kings presumably have been through like the 1 through 10. They've been through all of those phases, and it's basically because they've gone through everything and survived. That is what makes them the master of what they're doing. The King of Pentacles, I almost feel like what is going on might be holding you back from material things, might be holding you back from your success. But the King of Pentacles is very successful monetarily. He's very much in control of what he does and what he makes, and he is a leader, and this is you stepping up. It's interesting that it is, you know, here with this compassion, this very energy that is a very emotional energy, but that comes from kind of your past here. And I feel like it is being like in control of your emotions and not allowing, of course people are going to hurt you, but in not allowing that hurt to hold you back. It's really interesting here. This 10 of Swords kind of reminds me of, like, you can be having a very perfectly wonderful day, and something like even just driving your car and you feel like somebody cut you off, and that can make you angry, and it's a lot of times that stuff isn't even personal. Like, it's just that they made a mistake, and maybe they were on their phone and they missed their turn, or they need to get in your lane because they need to turn. It has nothing to do with you, or they thought they signaled and they didn't. But we take it so personally, and we take it so internally, and it is not a reaction of like, what is that person doing? I'm so mad at them, to, oh, okay, like those possibilities that I just said. It's not personal. They must be having a bad day. I hope they have a better day. And when you flip that script kind of like that, you don't take on that anger. You don't let it affect your day. It's just that moment. You let it go. You control yourself. You control your own thoughts. You control your destiny. And this Judgment here, Judgment is basically like, it's a level up. It's like this Phoenix. I love that it is this Phoenix, because I really do see the Judgment card as kind of a level up kind of card. If you're having a hard time envisioning the Rider-Waite Judgment, it is where it almost looks like people are coming out of graves, and it's got that angel, Archangel Gabriel, who is blowing the horn. It's very kind of spiritually related a lot of times. It is very much connecting with your higher self, but presumably those are people, it's like they're it's a resurrection of some kind. So that's why I love the Phoenix over here. But it's they're like, oh, I have an epiphany. I hear the call. I am moving from this situation over here where it may not be serving me very well, through love and compassion. And now I'm going to this new level. I'm going to this new place. I have this new understanding where I'm not allowing things to hurt me anymore. I'm not allowing, this person who happened to be rude to me because they're having a bad day. That because part is the compassion part. Usually we just stop with that person is rude to me, and then we take it very personally and like something is wrong with me, and then we we make it into a conflict. Where if we're like, that person was rude to me because they're having a bad day, they're having a hard time, I'm going to show them love. I'm going to show myself love because I'm not going to allow them to, drag me down to their level. That does not help at all. But if I show them compassion and just like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't realize, I was in your way, or I was standing here, whatever. That might be the thing that changes it for everyone. Okay? So just that one little act of kindness can transform not only your day, but theirs. And you're like, well, it doesn't have the power to do that. Yeah, it does, because them being angry with you or perceived angry had the power to change your day, didn't it? Seahorse spirit, watch and wait. Oh, it's only going to pull one, but we'll take them. Wait. Rhino spirit, overcome any obstacle. I love the rhino. And whale spirit, trust the great mystery. So very interesting that we've got two aquatic animals here, the seahorse spirit, watch and wait, and the whale spirit, trust the great mystery. Especially when I was talking about the blue here being really involved in your emotions. And when we're talking about compassion and really showing love, and we're showing, where does the love come from? I don't know. It comes from the depths of your soul. It's a great mystery. And the other great mystery about love, which is so interesting to me, I was talking to another person about this the other day, about how love multiplies. And it's so interesting how that happens. Before I became a mother, I had a dog, and I was like, I just cannot imagine loving anything more than I love this dog. And then I have my son, and I still love my dog, but man, my capacity for love just increased, and it can keep increasing. The more you show love, the more love can increase. I do like this watch and wait with the seahorse spirit. It's just kind of like, well, a couple things that's interesting with the seahorse spirit. Just allow the universe to surprise you. Just allow it. Be open to it. And the really cool thing about the seahorse spirit is when you think about seahorses, first of all, they're just so infinitely interesting little creatures. And then the male seahorse is the one who becomes pregnant. So things can just, it's just like the magic of the universe. Just allow it, just open it, open up the possibility, allow it to come into your life, and just, yeah, it's a great thing. And then I said, I love the rhino spirit, overcome any obstacle. First of all, the rhino to me is like the closest thing that we have to a unicorn, which is pretty magical. And just because the rhino isn't skinny like a unicorn doesn't mean that we cannot appreciate the rhino for that. The rhino is also armored, so the rhino puts boundaries around things, but the rhino, this is something that you don't want charging at you. You don't want a rhino charging at you. Something has gone terribly wrong if you do. But I just feel like if the rhino is gonna go over an obstacle because he wants to, he's going to do it. So it's just a reminder of I lost the words, but kind of related here to the King of Pentacle of determination. Yes, determination and will to really create that and do that and control that, and seeing an obstacle as an opportunity rather than something that is going to hold you back. And I feel like that is something that is really we see obstacles and complain about them rather than just be like, you know what, that's an interesting opportunity. A lot of times if we look at things as opportunities, even though we might have to work around them a little bit, even though we have to put in some effort, they come out pretty interesting. They have, you know, that's what makes life interesting, watching these opportunities. And I feel like, yeah, this is just be open. Be open to those opportunities, be open to an obstacle being an opportunity, and be open to the universe surprising you. And just open up your heart chakra, open up that love. So love you, group 3. I hope that you have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.